Good evening, happy Sunday, and I should say end of the Thanksgiving weekend to all of you Dbacks fans. Welcome on in to another exciting episode of Dbacks Dispatch here in the off season as we are still waiting on some news to officially drop on just literally anything. But there was a little bit of news I guess you could tie back into Dbacks a little bit that we'll dive into. But again, if this is your first time tuning on in to a show here, we want to welcome you guys in. Me myself. Brett, Brandon to your right, Gabe to your left, and then our man Josh, who made all the graphics and some of the videos that we got for you guys today. So we appreciate you guys tuning on in. If you guys could like, comment, subscribe on the YouTube side, it does help out immensely. If you're on Apple or Spotify, wherever you listen to your podcast, rate us however you feel. 1 star, maybe we're 5 stars. Maybe you feel like you just want to be in the middle, 3 stars. Whatever you feel like we deserve. Throw us a rating. It helps us out there too. Make sure you guys also follow us on our socials, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. Especially during the season. Once we get popping, it's going to be Meme Central over there on Twitter. While you're over on Twitter, or again, if you're in the socials or any descriptions over here, look at our pinned. It should have a link to our Discord. It's completely free. We'd love to have you guys join there if you are not already in there, and continue to join the community. That seems like it's growing every couple weeks and getting every bigger, or a little bit bigger as we get faster to spring training and opening day and all that, and it really starts to pop off in there. So make sure you guys do that. And then finally, make sure you guys go over to azsnakepit.com. Check out all the great content over there. Our man Josh puts out some written content for Dispatch. So if you want a little more Dispatch in your life, go check out his articles. He's had a couple featured on the Yahoo Sports page, which is really cool. Just shows that he's just a really good writer, puts in a lot of great content. And he's not the only one. Our man Jeff, a lot of other people over there put in some great content. So again, make sure you guys show some love to everyone over there, as we have Red Sox Nation showing some love in the chat. So we appreciate you stopping by as always. But before we kind of dive into some of our main topics here, obviously it is the final day of Thanksgiving weekend. So gentlemen, how was your guys' little short break here with one of the first major holidays that we have near the end of the season, where it's a little bit colder outside. It's definitely not, the winter that pretty much I'd say 90% of the other places in the country you're dealing with. But how's the start to your holiday weekends here?
Yeah, it's pretty good. I mean, I've been off since Wednesday since I work at a school, so I've had like 5 days off, and it's been like 5 Saturdays in a row for me. Like, I have no concept of time. Like the last 3 days, I'm like, is it Sunday yet? And then, no, it hasn't been. But yeah, I just kind of just spent it shopping, going around, doing stuff, and it hasn't been super interesting, but also not too bad. I think I'm just like everybody else, just waiting for some baseball news, which hopefully should come soon with the winter meetings coming up. But yeah, I hate how much it smells like smoke outside though. I do hate that. But yeah.
It's all the fires going down. It's a good and bad thing. It's Fires are awesome. I love fire season, but I do sometimes hate as somebody with asthma, I do hate the constant smoke in the air. It seems like, where especially my allergies and all that are not enjoying it the last couple weeks. But yeah, you're a smart man getting your Christmas shopping done early. Is Mike Hazen is the one who likes to wait until the very last minute to get us anything to put under our tree apparently. So we'll expect some Christmas Eve deals for him to go out to the mall in the final few hours, get us something. So we'll probably have to wait until then. But I would prefer not to. I'd like to get some news. I do agree with you. But what about you yourself, Brandon? How's been the start, or I guess the official end to your Thanksgiving weekend, and how's your holidays been so far?
It's been fine. Just working because I have a part-time job where I can work when I don't want to work. So I was like, I may as well just work when I have nothing else better to do. So that's what I've been doing the last 2 days. I did get Thursday off, so that was nice, but I did have to work Friday. So it is what it is. Just want to say shout out to Scott here. Greetings from Bangkok. So we always appreciate you, Scott Mack, for stopping by, my man.
Heck yeah. Love everyone tuning in, especially if you're tuning in on after the fact and on the live chat and just listening to us on the YouTube side. We appreciate you guys there. Or like I said, if you're listening to us on the Spotify podcast side and all that, and you aren't joining us in the YouTube, I mean, first off, join us in the YouTube if you're ever, seeing the link and seeing we're live. I'd love to see you guys in here. But even if you aren't, then we still appreciate you guys no matter what. But yeah, this is the first year that me and Kayla, and probably the only year that we are hosting Thanksgiving. It was so much work. I had the day before Thanksgiving and the day off. We did like all the food prep the day before. I mean, it was good. Like literally we made pretty much everything, like the green bean casserole, sweet potato casserole, pretty much everything from scratch. I made my first ever turkey, which was fun. I didn't overcook it. I didn't burn it. So, fingers crossed. It was fingers crossed the entire time. But let me tell you, brisket over turkey every single day of the week, every holiday. Turkey's overrated. Like, I don't know why we can't just make it make brisket the official Thanksgiving food because turkey just gets so dry. Like even if you make it perfectly, it'll still probably be dry. You're still probably gonna drown it in gravy. But brisket, you don't got to worry about that. But last episode we were here, obviously one of the main discussions. I think we spent most of the episode talking about Zach Gallen. What his deal would mean, whether he signs over or under the $50 million mark, what that means for the D-backs, and just our thoughts in general on if we'd like him to come back, the possibilities we see of him coming back. And we didn't get any Zach Gallen news specifically, but we did get some news regarding a different pitcher that is also under the Scott Boras agency, as Dylan Cease. You guys remember him the last couple of years, did pitch for the San Diego Padres, was traded from the White Sox to them a couple years ago. And he got a big deal that I think can confirm and solidify that Zach Gallen is not going to be returning here to the desert, as the Blue Jays did give him a 7-year, $210 million deal to bring him north of the border and bolster their rotation a little bit. And kind of surprising because when you look at him and Zach Gallen's numbers, even Brandon brought it before the show, just off of 2025 alone, him and Zach Gallen posted the same exact B WAR. I think he said it was like a 1.1. But if you look back at the last couple years in general, like I know Zach Gallen obviously hasn't been the same pitcher since the All-Star break in 2023, which Gabe, Brandon even brought it up on the last episode. But Dylan Cease has also had kind of some up and downs, some rocky starts here and there, a couple hot months, couple months where he was borderline Jordan Montgomery-esque of just giving up home runs and runs left and right. But I think the amount of money that the Blue Jays guaranteed him has officially solidified that Zach Gallen is going to get some kind of deal that is maybe not the 210 7 years, but I think we can at least be a little bit happy that we're guaranteed to get a comp A pick. I think he's getting over the $50 million range. And I don't think he's going to be wearing a D-backs uniform come next year. But Gabe, I want to pass to you, get your thoughts. One, what was your initial reaction to Dylan Cease getting that kind of money, considering how he's been pitching the last couple of years? And then two, what this means, obviously, for Zach Gallen's future here in the desert or in whatever city he ends up going to come opening day.
So I guess my initial thought was just shock with the amount of money. I was at 210, 7 years. That's $30 million a year for a guy who, had a 4.5 ERA. So it really caught me off guard when I saw the numbers. But then I started to think about it more and more, and I thought, at least for the Blue Jays, it makes a lot of sense. They need a frontline starter. Although that wasn't the biggest issue that they had in the postseason, especially the World Series. But I do think it's a really good move for them. I do still think they should go after Bo Bichette. I think that should have been their priority. But if they want to go out and get Dylan Cease, I think it's the right move for them. And I'm kind of curious as to if this is an overpay or if this is just the Blue Jays saying screw it, we are going to get the guy no matter what. They don't want to have to wait for him to negotiate with anybody else because this is going to be the biggest figure that he's going to see because of his numbers. But once I did some digging, I looked at his baseball savant page and I saw for the most part he was pretty unlucky. I know Gallen was too, but the difference is staggering. His ERA for the season was 4.55. His expected ERA was 3.46. So we've always said that ERA doesn't tell the entire story because of stuff like this, because sometimes you get unlucky. And Dylan Cease, playing in San Diego, 3 of his 4 infielders aren't the best, at their position. You got Reyes there who lets ground balls go through his legs like nothing. You can, do a little soft toss roller to him, he's going to miss it. So, especially with the way that they count errors nowadays, they don't count anything as errors. So there's probably a lot of runs that they counted for him that shouldn't have been his. But you just look at his savant page and you see a lot of red. Expected batting average 216, fastball below 97. This is a guy who can reach triple digits. Chase rate, whiff rate, K rate. The biggest thing for him was just location. He had a lot of difficulty locating, so he gave up a lot of walks this season compared to the other one. So he got burned on those. And when you compare him to Zach Gallen, 4.83 ERA, 4.28 expected ERA, so similar enough. Obviously not as similar as that, but at least compared to Gallen, his fastball velo 93.5, his low chase rate, low whiff rate, low K rate. Comparatively speaking, at least when you look at the savant page, there truly isn't a lot to compare with both of them. It seems like Cease is the higher, the better candidate for a bounce back over Zach Gallen. Zach Gallen, what we saw in the second half of last season, is that real? Was that James McCann just knowing how to, how to help him out, or is he going to be the same at another team? Like, is he going to be able to bounce back and be the pitcher that we know? Or, I can see Dylan Cease because he has a better defense in Toronto. He has a better catcher in Toronto. I can see him being like a 3.5 ERA guy, making that contract worth it. But in terms of Gallen, I feel like that's still going to put the D-backs out of contention because it is Scott Boras. Scott Boras got a 4.5 ERA pitcher for $210 million. Now, Zach Gallen isn't going to get $210 million, but I can see him now being for 150, 100 to 150 worth of a contract. So I feel like that would put the D-backs out of contention for him. And it sucks, but it is a business, and the market dictates the value. And right now, the market, as we're going to talk about later with Helsley as well, pitching seems to be at a premium this season, and seems like teams are going to be overpaying for pitching no matter who they are.
Yeah, I do I kind of like you're bringing up the savant page with Dylan Cease and kind of the underlying metrics that the once best second baseman in baseball moving to first base, Luis Arias. Gonna bring that up every single time, so I don't mind.
Yes, you are.
Like the Padres defense wasn't as good, so definitely inflated his numbers a little bit. So I think he will bounce back to that 3.5 ERA. But Gallen, like we talked about last time, his home run problem. A lot of that, obviously, James McCann kind of helped his numbers in general, but he still did give up a couple home runs here in the second half, even with James McCann. So I think that's just, even like we talked about all season last year, the year before, just the fastball command is, if that's just who Zach Gallen is now, I don't think he's going to get the $210 million that Cease is, but I do agree. I do think he's going to get anywhere in that 1 to 150 range, and if that's the case, I know it's still probably out of our price range, and we're not going to spend that money anyway, but I'd rather have that money go to Tatsuya Imai, the pitcher in Japan that's being posted that wants to go to a team that has no Japanese players, doesn't want to go to, obviously, the Dodgers, wants to beat the Dodgers. Hey, check the boxes. Come, we play them 9 to 12 times a year. Might as well come to Arizona. We don't have any Japanese players. Gonna be the first one here. We got a nice little mixture of cultures here in Arizona. Beat the Dodgers a little bit. Am I? But yes, I think we're priced out of Gallen, and I think some team will give him the contract. Whether it's like we discussed last show, maybe even in the 75 to $100 million range, which like with a player opt out after the first or second year, where you can go back to free agency and get the guaranteed 150 with a longer contract. But yeah, I think this solidifies that he's not going to be in the D-backs uniform come 2026, and that we are indeed going to be getting a Comp A pick. But Brandon, what are your thoughts on the entire situation? Obviously, like I said, or like I asked Gabe, just initial reactions to the Dylan Cease move, because honestly, I kind of looked at my phone and was like, I'm sorry, how much? Like, I knew he was going to get paid, but I thought both him and Gallen would be in that, 1 to 125, maybe 150 most at max. But the Blue Jays decided that they got uncomfortable in the cuck chair, and they wanted to be the main person in on the action there. So that's maybe like Gabe said, maybe they just overpaid a little bit. They purchased their way out of the cuck chair, but I don't know. What's your initial thoughts to the whole Dylan Cease and what this means for Zach Gallen's, I guess, no longer future as an Arizona Diamondback?
I was like, he did what? Like, he signed for what? Like, I did the same thing you did. I'm like, because as we've discussed on this pod, like, I watched the Padres and the D-backs. Like, I watched both of their games. I watch every single game, so I've seen what Dylan Cease has been the last 2 years. He is steady as they come. He has started, so since 2021 when he was with Chicago, 32 games started, 32, 33, 33, 32. So he's going out there every fifth day. So he's going to give you those innings. Also, since then, over 200 strikeouts each season. So maybe the Blue Jays just saw like he's going to eat innings and he's going to strike guys out. Maybe that's what they were looking for. But watching him the last 2 seasons, I kind of talked about Zach Gallen's very Jekyll and Hyde. Like, you'll see a start 7 innings, 3 hits, 1 earned, 8 strikeouts. Or you barely gets through 5, gives up 10 hits, 5 earned. That's what Dylan Cease is. He's going to be one of those two. He's going to be a top, let's say, 30 pitcher in Major League Baseball. Like, he will be an ace. and then he'll be one of those where he looks like he is a number 4 starter in a rotation. So I think Toronto completely overpaid. Tip my hat to Scott Boras. He is still that guy. He will still get his guys paid, even though I personally think that they're not deserving of it. He is not a $200 million pitcher, but this basically sets the market for the rest of the starting pitching. So, like you said, we're probably getting that Compe pick. Like, I don't see any way that Zach Gallen doesn't sign for at least $50 million. Maybe he signs for $100 million. Like, I still think it's 4 years, 100. I've been saying that for like the last 6 months. I think that's what his market is. 4 years, 100. Maybe 3 years, 80. Maybe he does it's like a 2-year deal with an option for that third season. So, Dylan Cease led Major League Baseball in strikeouts per 9. He had 11 and a half. That's all of Major League Baseball. That's not just the National League. That's all of Major League Baseball. So strikes guys out. But he had an ERA plus of 94. And the average is 100. So he was a below average pitcher last year. And he gets 7 years, $210 million. That's a lot of money for an average starting pitcher in Major League Baseball. He has deferrals, by the way, in this contract. We don't know what it is. That information has not been made public, but Ken Rosenthal did state his contract does have deferrals. So I'm very curious what they are. And
It's all just paid off in poutine and hockey tickets.
So, like, that Toronto rotation's looking pretty good, though. Like, you got him, you got Trey Savage, you got Kevin Gausman. Like, those are 3 really good starting pitchers. So I think they realized how close they were. They're like, we need just another starting pitcher. So I think that was probably the first thing on their list of moves that need to be made. So congrats to Dylan Cease. I still think after seeing this, I'm like, bye Gallen. Yeah, there's no way that he comes back. So sucks.
Especially considering the same agent. Like, the fact
Yeah.
that they're both Boris clients, like, and even if they don't get the identical contracts, I think this 100% prices out Gallen. Like, the fact that even a thought of less than a $50 million contract, I don't think because obviously he turned down the qualifying, which was 22, and that's why I personally think that he's going to get more than just a 4-year 100, because it's like $3 million more than the qualifying. And obviously I know, like, 4 years versus just like the 1 year, it's still $3 million more per year versus what the qualifying offer is, but I still think he's going to push for 27 to 30. Like, I could see him getting, if a team wants to do what the Blue Jays did, or a team like the Orioles, which we'll have a little bit more on them in a minute too, where they need pitching, like, and no major league pitching is always fully stacked on starting pitchers unless you're the Dodgers, where you just buy 10 of them and you just rotate which 5 are going to be injured until the postseason comes. Pretty much every team always needs starting pitching, and I think there's going to be some team out there that will be willing to give him that $27 million range. Look at what he's done. Kind of like Gabe says, look at the back of the baseball card. Maybe they won't be as worried about the last couple of years, and they'll kind of worry about what he did, from like 2019 through 2020, like the first half of 2023, and focus more on that rather than worry about, again, maybe there was something that they noticed that obviously the D-backs pitching coach couldn't. And the pitching department couldn't see. Maybe there's a fix that they have that can kind of get his home run numbers back down to that like 10 to 15 per year range, and back down to the all-star Cy Young caliber pitcher he was back in 2022 and early 2023. But again, whether or not that happens, I just think that we're gonna, no matter what Zach Gallen we see, whether it's the Jekyll and Hyde Zach Gallen or the all-star Zach Gallen, I just think we're gonna see him be that kind of player in a different uniform. I don't know what team it's going to be, but I'm fairly confident saying it's not going to be a D-backs uniform.
Yeah, I think the way these prices are rising, I just looked up Zach Greinke's contract because I'm like, I know it was more or less around that range. $206 million for Zach Greinke, coming off a 1.6 ERA season with over 220 innings pitched for Zach Greinke. He got 206, and he got Dylan Cease with the 4.5, 170, 180 innings that he pitched, getting 210. So that's just the way prices has been rising in this league. Um, Pitching is a premium, like we've said before. Like you can never have enough pitching, and the D-backs are a testament to that. In the last few seasons, like for the most part, they've run out of starting pitchers from time to time that throw out bullpen games, and the D-backs are a team that are equipped for a bullpen game the way like Tampa is, the way LA is. Like there's a few teams in this league that can do bullpen games and be fine with it, but the D-backs are just not it. But there's, like you said, like there's probably gonna be a team that's gonna be willing to overspend, whether it's the Phillies, either New York teams. Um, I don't think San Diego's even in contention this time, but there's a lot of teams that I think are willing to do that. And with Zach Gallen, who knows if it's a simple enough fix that a team could see that for whatever reason the D-backs just aren't catching. Um, Maybe he gets reunited with with the Pirates, with Brent Strom over there, because the Pirates are trying to spend money. Although I think it's in the Pirates thing, I think it's what do you call it, like a union gripe or something like that, or I don't know. There's like a phrasing that they use as to like a complaint, like a formal complaint that the players union is doing against the Pirates for not spending any money. So it could be part of that, but I think a team like Seattle would benefit from a guy like Zach Gallen because of their pitching lab, the fact that they play in Seattle, so his numbers would probably be better there than it would be in other places. But yeah, it's one of those things where you look at those huge numbers and with the D-backs cutting payroll, it could be 100 million, like Brent said, 3 years 80 or 4 years 100. And I just don't think the D-backs are going to do that. I think we have to be prepared for that. And that also makes me worry about Merrill Kelly. This is a guy who starts 30 games a season, goes 180 to even 200 innings per season with a 3.5 ERA. He eats innings. He could be out of the price range too. I don't see the D-backs unless he gives them, a hometown discount of 15 million or something like that. I can see Merrill Kelly getting 2 or 3 years for 50, 60 million.
50, yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, there's the D-backs. Obviously, I know there's been talks like they maybe have like around 30 to 30, maybe 30 to 40 million to work with payroll, and that might even be on the higher end. And there's definitely some more pressing issues to worry about. Obviously, there will be some reinforcements with the bullpen. We kind of talked about it in the previous shows with guys like Martinez and Puck being able to come back around the All-Star break, and even on the rotation side with Corbin Burns around the All-Star break, maybe a little bit before, maybe a little bit after him coming back. But again, never know somebody coming back from Tommy John. They could still take a little bit to kind of ramp up and be the pitcher they were before, but the D-backs will probably need to use that money in other areas, specifically the bullpen. So that kind of leads into our second topic here, as I know a lot of us were talking about, not in just the Discord, even in some of our previous off-season shows like a month or two ago, about what the D-backs need to do, maybe some like predictions. And I think a couple names that we were floating around there, or at least just one of the areas, was clearly the bullpen. Obviously, there was a lot of talk this year of one of the worst bullpens. I think the most blown leads in the sport. Mike Hazen has never had a good bullpen. It seems like every year he's always assembling, patchwork bullpen pieces. The Jake Woodfords of the world, the Jalen Beeks, just signing guys, like signing guys, off the street basically just to eat innings out of the bullpen. Nobody can rely on, and we were expecting, maybe make a splash, get a guy like Devin Williams, go after maybe a reunion of like Luke Weaver. There's tons of relievers out in the market. Some of the higher leverage guys, at least some guys that would be really really solid 7th, 8th inning guys if we really do only want to rely on Andrew Saalfrank, who again had a really solid season as our closer near the end of the year when. It seemed like we would call upon him in the 9th innings, but still, I don't know if he's necessarily a 9th inning guy that we want to rely on. And plus, we never know if he's going to repeat his success. I mean, look at Joe Mantiply, All-Star in 21, and then just fell off a cliff in after that. So same thing could happen to Saalfrank, same thing couldn't. I'm not sure, but one of those names is definitely off the market now, which could either kind of like Zach Gallen spell doom or maybe lead to some news of the D-backs. As Ryan Helsley, the fireballer that was once a St. Louis Cardinal for so many years, who was traded to the Mets at the deadline, became a free agent after the season was over, signed a 2-year, $28 million deal with the Baltimore Orioles that does have a player opt-out after the first season. So he is getting that $28 million, so around 14 ALV. So if his market alone on that, obviously he's been really solid. I know we talked about it even last season. I mean, like his numbers in general, he's been looking over his career. He's been a pretty consistent pitcher. Um, Let me look up his stats. I mean, I kind of looked at it before, and I know ERA plus can be a little bit weird with closing pitchers, but his ERA plus in 22 was at 3.13. In 23 was 180. In 24 was 2.02. Last year saw a little bit of a dip in 25. He had a 138 ERA plus with the Cardinals, but then went down to 57 with the Mets. So he definitely wasn't the same pitcher after the trade deadline, but he's still pretty consistent. But it might mean a guy like Devin Williams is going to be kind of outpriced on us, especially at 14 million per year going to Helsley. Devin Williams, I think a guy that has a better track record personally. I mean, again, using the same stats as ERA plus, looking at his numbers, he's been pretty consistent. I mean, in 2021 he had a 1.66 ERA plus, and then from 22 on he had an over 200. Like in 22 was a 209, 23 was at 282. In 24, before Pete Alonso kind of broke him in the postseason, he had a 338. So just consistently having an under 2 ERA, one of the nastiest pitches, obviously, in Yankee Stadium. His career or his year as a Yankee maybe scared away a few other teams, but I think that with Helsley going off the board, so many other teams, just like starting pitching, always need bullpen help, and I think that it's going to be a big bidding award for a guy like Devin Williams and even maybe some guys like Luke Weaver and some of those other names in the bullpen market. The D-backs, I think, got to act fast, or we're just going to be, doing more patchwork bullpen. We're just going to basically be punting on the season before we even get to spring training. But, Gabe, what are your thoughts on, obviously, Ryan Helsley, what this deal, kind of like the same thing with Dylan Cease. What were your initial reactions to the deal that he signed with the Orioles? The initial reactions to the Orioles are the ones that signing him, and also what this means for the D-backs in their offseason plans of trying to bolster that bullpen and get a more reliable back-ending arm to lessen the amount of heart attacks, heartbreaks, and blown leads going into 2026.
Yeah, I think this kind of puts away any notion of them spending real money on the bullpen. There's still quite a few guys out there, and I feel like they're going to be as expensive, if not more expensive than him, like Suarez, and Robert Suarez is still out there. He had a way better year. He's, I believe, younger than him. Edwin Diaz is still out there. There's quite a few high-end relievers that are out there, and I don't think any of these guys are going to be going for anywhere under 15 million. I think it's going to be anywhere from 15 to 20 million. I mean, Helsley, who had a bad second half, was able to get, 17 million per year, right? 14 million. Then any of these guys is going to be anywhere 15 to 20 million for these top guys. And so I'm looking at some of these other guys like Devin Williams. Like Devin Williams had a down year. Like, could the D-backs give him 15 million, or for 1 year, for 2 years, whatever it is, give him an opt out, have a bit of a bounce back, and then I don't know, go trade for a reliever, because I think that's kind of where the team is headed right now. They're at 40 men on the 40-man roster, so if there's going to be anything, I think that's kind of where it's going to be. I think it's going to come from actual trades, because they got to get rid of some of these guys in the minor leagues, so they got to do something about that. And one way to do that is to make a trade for a high-end reliever, although who knows how many guys are truly available at this point. We'll see. Mason Miller, I know he was traded to the Padres, but with the Padres, with their financial issues, he could be on the trading block. We don't know. I mean, he's going to get more expensive as time goes on. I believe he should be entering arbitration either this season or next season. So, I think that this is the time for the D-backs to maybe try to get in on this, try to get on this free agent market, and not be left with the guys with the 4, 5.5 ERAs who are crafty lefties and righties. Like, we don't want that. We want guys with speed, with velocity, who are able to strike guys out.
Yeah, say the D-backs need to address it, and our prospect system's a little bit slim, especially if we want to even go after like a starting pitcher, which I know a lot of people are hoping like maybe we can make a trade for some kind of reliever or some kind of starter. And that would leave our farm a little bit more depleted if we wanted to make a trade for a reliever. Like, I think that Hazen's gonna have to act fast before all the good names are gone, or before he gets into a bidding war and maybe overpays for a reliever. But at this point, I think I'd rather overpay on a reliever, again, like Devin Williams, than have another, situation with like a Jordan Montgomery, Eduardo Rodriguez, where we try to, like, I'd rather make it a trade for a starter and then overpay or pay a lot of money for a reliever, especially somebody with the the back of the baseball card like Devin Williams, then worry about overpaying for another starting pitcher, who's only going to give us 4 innings, and then we have to deal with more Jake Woodford, Tyler Rossi. Which again, no full disrespect for Tyler Rossi for what he did. Not having a lot of expectations. He wasn't terrible, but I don't want to see a bullpen comprised of guys like that where they're getting big outs in the seventh, eighth, and ninth innings. But it's. I think we just got to expect it, and we just got to prepare ourselves because don't get our hopes up, and because the more we get our hopes up, the more we dream, the more it hurts when we're inevitably going into 2026 for spring training or even opening day, and we have Kendall Graveman kind of names as our big bullpen acquisitions. But Brandon, passing it on to you and kind of opening up the floor to you. What was your initial thoughts to Helsley, the team that he went to, and then what this means for the D-backs regarding their bullpen search and their bullpen construction going into 2026?
So my initial thought was, did they sign him as a starter or a closing pitcher? Because there was a report, like not even 2 or 3 days prior, that teams were considering converting him to a starting pitcher and then signing him. So I thought, so that was my initial thoughts, but then they basically came out and no, they signed him to be their closer. He was a stud in 2024. Ryan Helsley was absolutely, he had just over a 2 ERA, 49 saves with a 202 ERA plus. So he had a really, really good season. And he's actually younger than Robert Suarez. Suarez is 34. So I think Suarez gets a 2-year deal. I don't see how you give Suarez anything more if you're anyone. But he probably wants more. And I would rather that they overpay for a closer. Like, I want a legit closer. No more of this dumpster diving. Hopefully we find something, and then hopefully we're good until we get these guys back in July and August with Puck and maybe J Mart. I know J Mart, like, a lot of people think he's probably out for the entire season. So this didn't make me feel great about signing for a back end relief pitcher because of this market, like from 14 million per year. Like, that's probably what Devin Williams is probably looking to get. Josh is really funny. I hear Emmanuel Clase is pretty cheap right now. How much is Bale?
He should have just hired an interpreter and been like, I don't know where my money's going. Gosh, poor me. I'm just a silly goose. I'm just a silly goose.
But I don't want I want Hazen to be proactive with this. Like, we need, like, I know that he doesn't do a lot at the winter meetings. They start next Monday. So not tomorrow, but a week from Monday is when they start. It's the 7th through the 11th. So I hope we get some signing, some trade during those meetings. I just hope it's not the trade that everyone is thinking we're going to do, because I will no longer be on this podcast. You guys can do it, but if they trade Ketel Marte, no, I just can't. So sorry about that little side tangent there. But I mean, congrats. It's really like a 1-year deal.
Yeah.
Like, it's a, I don't even know. Is it a player option?
I think it's a player option, and I'm pretty sure he got that.
Player,
he,
yeah.
he did that because he's like, you know what? I know if it wasn't for his second half, kind of blow up with the Mets, he probably would have gotten that, same kind of area Gabe's saying of around that, 18 to 20 plus $1 million per year. But that's why I think they gave him that 1-year opt out, because of he's like, hey, I'm gonna, prove it, kind of like the Pete Alonso, the Bregmans, where it's like, hey, I'm gonna show that I'm still the player that I was the last couple of years. A 2-month span isn't who I am.
So, I mean, congrats to him. Looks like Baltimore's finally starting to spend money, because that was something I know one of my friends was like, they got these new owners in there, and everyone thought, oh, they'd be spending right away. They
Immediately trade
extended.
Corbin or get rid of Corbin Burns.
Yeah,
Don't bring him back.
they somehow extend their backup catcher and not their starting catcher, which
Dude, Adley had a
that's.
rough year. I don't know if you looked at his numbers. Like,
No, trust me, I did, and I also watched him play. It wasn't pretty. So, um, yeah, I just hope that we make like that's what I like. I want some legit high leverage guys back there. I don't want us going into February and March and we're like, yeah, what are we doing back there? Shit, if I know.
yeah,
Yeah, I think the one of the biggest mistakes this team could make is, you hear the term a lot, like, oh, as long as we're 500 by the trade deadline. That, I mean, things do turn around at the trade deadline. We've seen a lot of teams do that, where they go on a run in August and September, sneak into the playoffs. We can't keep relying on that. This team has to be proactive. They have to win as many games as possible. This year was the outlier. The Mets had an absolutely just historical collapse. This team, the Mets should have easily won 90 plus games, but
they embodied the true meaning of Lil Mets.
yeah, I mean they had a collapse. Like, it wasn't that the D-backs just. I mean, the D-backs did play better, but at the end of the day, I mean, the way fans were acting, it's one of those things where it's like they lost their last 5 games. They won 80 games. They didn't go. This wasn't a 500 team. This team was below 500 at the end of the day, just because of the way things worked out. Some moves that we brought up, at the time, concerning either the bullpen or even guys on the field, or even bat in the rotations as well. So a lot to work on there. But in terms of what this team is going to do, like, we can't just come into July 31st and then Mike Hazen saying, well, we did make great acquisitions at deadline. We got Corbin Burns and AJ Puck and J Mart. Like, no, we can't do that bull crap year after year after year. This team has to go out there and be proactive, especially Mike Hazen. He has to be proactive, not reactive, and then we're stuck with a whole bunch of mediocre guys to even terrible guys, dumpster diving, $5 Walmart Blu-ray bins type of diving, just trying to find a diamond in the rough. And sometimes they find it, sometimes they don't. You just can't keep relying on that. So it's just frustrating to see these guys come off the board like that, because I don't know. I just feel like this team isn't going to be willing to spend that much money. And again, I don't want them to come into August with the 500 record and truly feel like with some of these moves that they're going to be able to sneak into the playoffs again. This team has to be at least a few games over 500 coming into a deadline, because it's going to be a competitive National League again. Like, the Mets aren't going anywhere. The Phillies aren't going anywhere. The Dodgers, the Giants might be about the same. Like, they might still be in there. Like, there's 10-ish teams in the National League who are vying for 6 spots, and who knows if D-backs are one of them.
Yeah, so it's not like it's getting any easier for them. And I know, like, obviously, just as us as fans, some people might be like, oh, this is why you guys are fans and whatnot. Trust me, we'll even be the first to admit, like, we know that building a bullpen isn't the easiest thing. Just building a roster isn't the easiest thing, because it's not like MLB The Show where you can turn off budget, ignore budget. You can turn on forced trades, all that shit. Like, we know it's not possible, especially even like I said earlier. So many of the teams probably have these same exact kind of holes, these same exact kind of issues. They're going to be eyeing these same kind of players and trying to get these same. They want the best bullpen pitchers. They want the best starting pitchers possible. They want the best hitters possible, obviously. But with Mike Hazen's track record, like Gabe said, it's you can't have another year of doing this, dumpster diving. Like, go to Zia. Like, yeah, sometimes you might hit a, knock out of the park. You might find in the 25-cent movie bin, dude, I just got Lord of the Rings Extended Edition for 25 cents. But then in the rest of the bin, you're finding, the Dragon Ball Evolution movie or the Last Airbender movie. Like, a lot more misses. We're getting a lot of the Dragon Ball Evolution movie and a lot of the Avatar: The Last Airbender movies in the back of the bullpen, and not many of those, Saving Private Ryan's or the Lord of the Rings Extended Edition or any of the extra, kind of like gems in the rough. We're not getting that as often, and haven't really gotten that in general. Like, Shelby Miller was a nice find for a little while there, but we weren't the ones that kind of had a resurgence with his career. He kind of figured that out with the Dodgers and the Tigers, and we were able to get a pretty decent out of him. Then obviously his elbow, just like every other fucking D-backs pitcher's elbow, pretty much exploded this year, which is very unfortunate. So we definitely need him to like Brandon said, be proactive. Even like Gabe said, try to at least get a better, more reliable name, and not just worry about going to the cheap route and just flinging, closing your eyes and throwing a dart and landing on a name like yeah, okay, let's sign that guy.
Yeah.
It's not
Yeah,
Moneyball.
I kind of also want to talk about a point you made earlier as well, which is like depleting the farm system. Like, I'd rather do that at the deadline rather than at the beginning of the year because again, bullpen guys are finicky. You might not, you don't want to trade away Jordan Lawler or Tommy Troy or something for a guy who's gonna, not pitch all that great this year. Like at least at the deadline, you know what a guy is usually. So I'd rather if there's a team that's gonna sell the farm, sell at the halfway point and invest in the bullpen right now, at least monetarily, spend the money, and then if the deadline comes and this team is 10 games over 500, that's when you pull the trigger and you deplete the farm system. And then we've seen it happen with a bunch of other teams. They deplete their farm system for a couple of really big names, especially relievers, and end up winning the World Series. And that's all this team could need at the end.
Yeah, so they're gonna be in some interesting moves, but I think we can bookmark it here and know that come the trade deadline, we can look back on this and realize that Gabe, Gabe Stradamus as always. We're gonna hear the getting those guys back is good as a trade, and we're gonna sit here rolling our eyes whether the D-backs are in a good position and he's not wrong, or whether that's basically just cope of like, yeah, I wasn't able to make anything happen at the deadline. I think it's gonna be inevitable. It's like Thanos, it's inevitable. Sorry, words are hard. And it's gonna happen no matter what. But going on to our third and final topic here, a little bit of other kind of not as I guess critical D-backs news, but a D-backs legend, former All-Star, Jake Lamb, the Rake Man himself, did officially announce his retirement from baseball. Played a total of 7 of his 10 seasons in the MLB with the Arizona Diamondbacks. Obviously, was an All-Star, and I think it was in 2017.
Yep.
Before he kind of I think he had some shoulder issues, just couldn't get healthy and just kind of started to fall off a cliff. But man, what a time that prime Jake Lamb was. Because I mean, just looking at his some of his numbers here, it's a name that kind of like I think coming like 5-10 years from now, he'll be in that same category as a guy like Augie Ojeda or maybe like a Willie Bloomquist, where maybe not many fans of other teams than Diamondbacks fans will know. Like they might hear Jake Lamb and be like, oh, the guy that was a Mariner or like a White Sox or like a Dodger or an Angel, whatever it was. But no, you hear Jake Lamb and it's gonna be like one of those the scene from Ratatouille where they flashback to being a kid there to that 2016 and even 2017 where like, I mean, Jake Lamb 2 years in a row there had an over 840 OPS. He hit 29 home runs in 2016, 30 in 2017, and that 2017 part was after or factoring in him kind of struggling there in the second half. But a legend, Jake Lamb obviously won't be making the Hall of Fame or even the Hall of Pretty Good. But did give us some good times here in Arizona, and at least we want to wish him a good happy retirement to Jake Lamb. Again that 2017 team, man. If we could have just brought back JD Martinez, I think we could have done some magical things in 2018. And I know obviously he didn't do much with us because he was hurt for a lot of 2018 as well. But yeah, so shout out Jake Lamb, the Rake Man himself. I think I got one of his bobbleheads somewhere up on my shelf over there, like the iconic one. Him and let me grab it really quick. I know I got it. Yeah, here we go. This man right here, one of the GOAT bobbleheads. Him literally with a lamb in the clubhouse when they announced him as an All-Star. Got him as a photo with his lamb, which they made the lamb like textured, which is weird. But yeah, shout out to the man himself. So kind of on the topic of Jake Lamb, obviously. Like I said, not going to be a guy that pretty much any other team is going to really remember him too much. What are your thoughts, obviously, on Jake Lamb, his retirement, and just kind of what the retirement news brought back memory-wise for you in regards to his brief but I would say memorable career as an Arizona Diamondback?
Yeah, I think he's one of those like what could have been type of guys. Like I know he struggled a little bit in 17 in the second half, but he did get shoulder surgery. And that kind of just derailed his career. And I think that's one of those surgeries that guys take a really long time to come back from. Look at Cody Bellinger. He got it in the end of 19? just wasn't able to come back and be that guy anymore. And I think Jake Lamb was one of those first guys who had that surgery, and this was, he's like the Tommy John of shoulder surgery, I think, for players. I don't think we're going to call it, Jake Lamb surgery anytime soon, but it is one of those things that you think about. You're like, damn, like what could have been? Like he was such a good player here for a couple of years, and unfortunately, injuries are part of the game, and guys can't stay healthy, and so this is kind of what happens. Like the 2017 team, same with AJ Pollock. That's another guy who was probably one of those Hall of Very good guys, if not a borderline Hall of Famer, if he could just stay on the field. But he just couldn't. He had so many either big injuries, random injuries, like bumping his elbow, and he got like not sepsis from. He got like some freaking gangrene from bumping his elbow or whatever.
Golden glass bones, bitch Pollock. Sorry, I will always
Yeah,
be
so
salty.
but with him, I think the biggest thing I remember is just the home run he hit off of the Dodgers, and right before the playoffs started, where he hit it off the
Foul pole.
it would be the right field foul post, and
Is that when
then
Archie Bradley
just
was saying like, "This is our house"?
yeah, it was that game, and just how hyped we all were, and then you know whether it's Hazen or Torrey and Co. not using Patrick Corbin for those playoffs, so then nothing happened. Yeah, but it was exciting while it lasted.
Yeah, what is it with some great players here in Arizona where their shoulders just fucking ruin us, man. Like Brandon Webb, god damn, I will always still be on the, that what if. I know even Jolly Olive, I brought it up before, but even Jolly Olive had a great video on the what if of Brandon Webb, and god, dude, he was generally on a Hall of Fame career. I know Jake Lamb's very different from Brandon Webb. More people remember Webby than they do Jake Lamb, just even outside of the D-backs fan base, but goddamn, he was on a Hall of Fame career, and Jake Lamb, if it wasn't for the shoulder injury, like Gabe said, I think that maybe he doesn't have the same success that he did that led him to being an All Star, but you know, ever since that, like he was one of the first third basemen in a while there where we kind of were like, okay, this is going into the season. We're like, yes, this is our third baseman. Like this is. We know who our third baseman is. Obviously, it was only like a brief like year and a half, maybe 2 years, but it was nice going into even that 2017 season and going into 2018, being like, yeah, like Jake Lamb, dude, like we're good on the third base side. Like we don't need to worry about Jake Lamb or any other fill in
I
for
mean,
Jake Lamb.
he kind of was the last one, right? Because it was Jake Lamb for what 7 years, and then Escobar for a couple of years, and then a revolving door of Rojas, and was Josh Van Meter, whoever it was, until we got Gino for a year and a half. So it's been a revolving door at third base since Jake Lamb left, and I think that's pretty telling about who he was here.
Yeah, I mean 81 home runs as a D-back. Like that's an iconic swing, man. Also, I know it's a hot take, but goddamn, I still kind of miss those jerseys, bro. I still kind of miss those jerseys a little bit. I was one of the few people that enjoy the gradient pattern, the home jerseys, the away jerseys. Man, it was a
You about the
Yeah,
owner.
I have the red one and the gray one. I have the gray teal one. That's probably my favorite one.
yeah. I got the gray teal one. The only thing I will say that like I'm glad they fixed it was that first year, the whoever the hell they had to design their jerseys, they didn't look at them from a distance because the fact that they had the black lettering, it was the teal outline but like the black inside. Watching, I remember when they debuted those jerseys against the Dodgers, I was like, who the fuck is pitching? I don't know who's hitting, who's pitching, who's on base. I can't read their name. And I'm on TV. I can imagine at a ballpark when like who the hell is out there? But yeah, say it. Our man Josh put together this great graphic, obviously that showed kind of some of his career numbers here. Like, oh man, what an iconic swing! Like uh, I miss him a little bit, and I do wish that we didn't just kind of. Oh, and that's Goldie rounding. Okay, now I'm just sad, Josh. Now I'm just sad. Jake Lamb driving in Goldie. What that D-backs team was and could have been for a couple years if injury derailment and front office decisions didn't kind of poke holes in that whole plan there. But Brandon, passing it on to you with Jake Lamb officially announcing his retirement from MLB. What are your thoughts on it? What kind of memories does it bring back? What did you want to kind of a Lamb Slam? There you go.
Slam.
Forgot about that. Yeah, Lamb Slam. Yeah, what did you want to kind of highlight there in the short but brief and I would say memorable career of him being as a Diamondback?
It's funny. He didn't even make the announcement. Archie did. Archie Bradley posted it on his social media that Jake Lamb was retiring. I thought that was funny. It just shows that sometimes you have roommates that you're only close with when you live with them, and then you make lifelong friends. And I think that's what Archie and Jake are for sure. And like you said, his swing, chef's kiss. Like he would make contact and the ball would fly. I'm like, how did he destroy that ball? He looked like he didn't even try.
It's a
He
very
just
beer league softball swing at times.
is like really really great. Yeah, it's not like outside the 2 years, career was not that great, but man, was he good in 2016 and 2017. He was truly that 2017 team could have done some things. If only and that was Torrey's first year there in 2017. The decisions that were made in that series against the Dodgers is going to be something that I think a lot of fans are going to be like, what if? And then the ultimate what if we re-sign JD Martinez after the season? I think is one of the biggest what ifs in franchise history.
If we re-sign JD, we don't fucking trade Goldie.
No, we do not at all. Like that heart of the lineup. But hopefully, fingers crossed, we can bring back Paul Goldschmidt.
God, please, I need it. I need it. I need
Yeah,
it like I
I
need my
think
asthma
you
hit.
need it more than anyone that I know.
Generally, dude, like no, like
You won't.
literally my favorite Diamondback of all time. Even when I'm at work, like I'm fully on the train of like I think that he's a future Hall of Famer. It sucks that it's I'm gonna go down this fucking this side tangent again. Was fucking robbed of the MVP in 2013.
Yes,
I
it
mean,
was.
led the league in home runs, RBI. He was literally what a average away from leading the like getting the triple crown. He led the league in slugging, led the league in OPS, led the league in OPS plus, led the league in total bases, intentional walks. Like came up in second place to Andrew McCutchen, who only won it because one, the Pirates
Pirates
made the
made the playoffs.
playoffs, and two, he played center field, where people want to value an outfielder position over a corner first base position, which is just ridiculous. I can't knock the 2015 vote. I mean, Bryce Harper was genuinely insane. Like Goldie didn't lead any stats in that season, but he was robbed of 2013. If it wasn't for that, he'd be going into Cooperstown with a D-backs hat no matter what. I mean, I still think he should go in there with the D-backs
Farewell
hat.
tour. Like if he goes on a farewell tour here this next season, I think there can be a discussion that he goes in as a D-back.
I would hope so, man. I mean, like he's never had a negative. Like just looking at his career as a Diamondback, obviously was the dude that adopted Tim Lincecum, and I will also say he did end Tim Lincecum's reign as the freak. Once Paul Goldschmidt made his debut, he adopted Tim Lincecum. Tim Lincecum was never the same pitcher ever again. Just want that on record. But I mean, dude, what Goldie did here in his 2011 to 2018, like almost a 40 WAR. He had 39.8, and he has 63.8 in his career. So like, what he did just as a D-back, like the dude is insane. So sorry, didn't mean to side tangent. I will always do it, but like literally favorite Diamondback of all time. I say it all the time at work that he's a
He
future Hall of Famer.
addresses a major need that we have that is either DH or first base against lefties.
And hey, you know what? I'd rather have 30. What? How old is he now? Let's check. I'd rather have
38.
39-year-old Paul Goldschmidt than Tim Tawa. Again, no disrespect for Tim Tawa. I know he's a pretty solid young player.
At
He's a
first
good athlete.
base. I
At
think
first base, yeah.
Tawa is a good super utility player that could, he could start at second here and there, third base, center field. I just don't want him at first base.
No.
Watching him last year at first base was a struggle. It was hard to watch.
Yeah. Yeah. So like I'd be fully okay with bringing Goldie, but yeah, say if we would have man, if Jake Lamb doesn't get injured, if we re-sign JD Martinez, if we don't start Taijuan Walker over Patrick Corbin in a playoff game. Oh man, all the what ifs. I would like to travel to the timeline, go through the Twilight Zone to the spooky season, where we keep JD Martinez, nobody gets hurt for the D-backs. The same timeline where Brandon Webb's shoulder doesn't blow up, he becomes a Hall of Famer. Goldschmidt wins the MVP over McCutchen. We re-sign JD Martinez. We draft Mike Trout instead of glass-boned bitch boy AJ Pollock. And we can live in the happy timeline, not the Not the one that Arizona sports fans are cursed. And like I know I tweeted it today. Thank fucking God I was not raised a Cardinals fan. I don't know how you guys could do it. Being a D-backs, Cardinals fan, Suns fan, and Coyotes
Try
fan. Sad at
no.
woo.
Try growing up as a San Diego Chargers fan and then choosing to be a Cardinals fan.
Ooh.
That's my
Ooh.
life.
Having your football team taken away and then your next hockey team taken away. God, fuck the owner of the Chargers too. By the way, that's still so stupid.
You'll never hear me disagree to that statement.
But yeah, so it's definitely like even like Brand said, like, maybe not the most insane career, but I say memorable just because again there's some names like again guys that most other fan bases might not know, but to us the Augie Ojedas, the Bloomquist, the Jake Lambs, the Mike Morgans, there's gonna be some names that bring it up and there's gonna be some good memories attached to it. And I think Jake Lamb definitely has some good memories attached to it. Even though I know his end of his career here, a lot of us were begging for the team to kind of cut bait a little bit earlier than they did. Um, but sometimes you got to stick with players and hopefully you can get the best out of them. But just wish nothing but the best for Jake. I'm glad hopefully him and Archie can have some fun content in retirement. Because Archie's a fun guy. I imagine Jake Lamb's got to be a pretty fun guy too. So. Definitely wish him the best, and hopefully that who knows, maybe he winds up doing something on social media, maybe coming back to the D-backs. They always like to bring back some former players to work in their front office. I mean, they have a lot of former players in some kind of front office role, whether it's like player development or just in general, maybe just to have around the ballpark. It feels like Gonzo is just an attraction at the ballpark. Same with Randy. So maybe we get something kind of like that with Jake Lamb. That'd be kind of cool, but I don't know. Only time will tell.
I would love it as a giveaway, like next season, they do a Jake Lamb jersey. I think that'd be really cool.
Or in 2 years after Goldschmidt has his retirement here, we get the Paul Goldschmidt retirement jersey when they retire number 44. Nobody's worn 44 since Goldschmidt left. I just do at least want to point that out. Nobody's worn 44.
Because it's respect.
Because out of respect, I do always remember this when it first happened, when we fucking first drafted Pavin Smith and my parents saw him in the Arizona Fall League. I guess maybe it was the universe trying to give us signs. Is in the Arizona Fall League, he was wearing number 44. And I remember at the time when my parents sent me the photo of that, they were like, oh yeah, our first round draft pick, wearing 44, playing first base. I'm like, take that shit off. Don't you don't, no, nobody.
The
nobody.
irony now, if he did, oh my God, if he had done it.
Yeah, like the fact that literally at the time I was like, nobody should ever wear 44, even in the Arizona Fall League. Like, I get it doesn't matter, but like nobody's worn it since. I feel like that's just been them out of respect keeping it open. But you know what, Josh, oh man, it is funny. They fired Jesse, but then they milk every possibility to have him on the show whenever they can. They just don't want to pay him. They just want him to get him for free. Josh, does that sound does that sound familiar to you? I'm not sure. I know you got to deal with something like that for a little while there, but I know still love Derek over there. So don't want to. There's still some great people over there, but yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they're just drooling at the mouths. Sounds pretty damn familiar to me. Yeah, there's some deep lore that I know some of you guys listening are probably like, what are these dudes ranting about here? There's so much lore. There's so many chapters. This is like in One Piece where we're on episode 1200 right now, where you need to go back to episode 10 if you want the full lore, and I just don't think anybody wants to go back that far, but. Any other final thoughts? Obviously, I know there's not too much news to talk about here, but any other final thoughts on the things we kind of talked about here tonight? Whether it's Dylan Cease, what that means for Zach Gallen, Ryan Helsley, what that means for the D-backs bullpen plans moving forward, or anything else, whether it's Jake Lamb or any other former D-backs related things and memories that kind of come to mind.
Yeah, I'm just hoping that there's some moves coming up. I mean, I think most guys want to get situated before the holidays, so this is when most of the moves are made, and you don't want to wait until January, especially to sign a pitcher, because by that time it's a little too late to get guys working with the trainers here and everything. And so then you're going to have a situation like Jordan Montgomery, or even in, was it 2016 or whatever it was, when the Phillies got Bryce Harper and he had a down year because he signed late. And same with Machado. You don't want to sign guys too late. And so this is the perfect time to do it. Do it before the holidays. There's not going to be any Black Friday discounts on any of these guys, but you got to do what you got to do. And also, Red Sox Nation, I think Brett is going to give you that recipe.
Yeah, so I got you in a second here. Brandon, any other final thoughts that you had on some of the topics we talked tonight? Cease, Helsley, and then even Lamb or any other things. Maybe you want to touch on, like Gabe said, just get the Christmas shopping done early instead of waiting for the last minute.
At this point, I don't care what the next major signing is, whether it's a starting pitcher, Kyle Schwarber, if you want to really give us a great Christmas present, because just imagine him just pull shot after pull shot, he would hit that truck in right center constantly. So,
God, I'd love to see Schwarber here.
I think he wants 40 million AAV, which is just ridiculous.
Yeah, he's not. We don't have the money for Schwarber. We want Schwarber. We don't got Schwarber money. Pavin Smith it is, champ. Literally what it's going to be. But yeah, so Red Sox, kind of what you were talking about earlier. Hold on, let me plug in my headset. I think my headset might have died on here. But Red Sox, kind of like what you were talking about earlier. The green bean casserole. My wife actually made it from scratch this year. Everything, and basically like fresh mushrooms. Because usually like when my mom makes it for years, it's just like cream of mushroom, like Campbell's soup is basically the base with obviously like we didn't do fresh green beans. That's a whole fucking can of worms. That's a whole extra process to it. But basically made the whole like mushroom thing from scratch. Used like bacon fat, a bunch of other things. But we made it loaded green bean casserole where we actually put bacon bits inside of it and then cheese on top with the crispy onions and then also bacon on top, which. Dude, I love my mom's green bean casserole growing up. One of my favorite dishes. I did not know that it was there was some extra ingredient added to it that made me like unlock some kind of like fourth dimension where I just started like floating. But my God, the cheese and the cheese and the bacon inside of that and everything. Oh man, delicious. But I've in the last year and a half or so, I've even my family is thinking I'm a different person because my favorite thing my wife made for Thanksgiving was it's called deviled strawberries. And it sounds weird. Like some of my friends were like, "Why the fuck would you put mustard in strawberries?" It's not what it is. It's basically strawberries cut in half, and it's a cheesecake like topping where it looks like deviled eggs, like same thing, but it's cheesecake with like crushed graham crackers on top. And if you would have known me 5 years ago, you'd be like hearing me be like, "Well, I'm sorry, you fucking hate cheesecake." Yes, for years I hated cheesecake. Like when I was young, I'd be like, "Ew, why would I want to eat cream cheese for dessert? That sounds disgusting." But in the last year and a half, I don't know what the hell has happened, dude. I fuck with cheesecake. I used to hate chocolate. I fuck with chocolate. I used to hate sweet potatoes. I fuck with sweet potatoes.
You hated chocolate?
Oh, dude, I despise like not to despise like I could have like some chocolate candy here and there, but people that'd be like, oh, give me like like chocolate ice cream or like I would refuse to eat a chocolate frosty. I wouldn't get the chocolate milkshake from In-N-Out. I didn't like chocolate fudge on pretty much anything. The closest would be a chocolate chip cookie or maybe like a brownie, but like chocolate ice cream, no. Chocolate cake, no. Not my thing. I'm more of a strawberry guy.
My mind is blown right now.
Yeah. Trust me.
You saw the error in your ways.
Yeah, so I definitely eat a lot like chocolate a little bit more now, but yes, I didn't realize that the green bean casserole was missing bacon and cheese. So definitely throw that out if you haven't tried a loaded green bean casserole. Definitely recommend it. I don't know whoever makes it if you guys make it for Christmas. I know some of the same dishes around Thanksgiving people use for Christmas as well. Just not fucking turkey because it's overrated and gross and disgusting. Even my wife was like, "Hey, for the next couple of years, if we ever host it again, let's just do brisket." I'm like, cool, hell yeah. I don't have to ask me twice. I'll make brisket. Any excuse to make brisket, I'll do it. But yeah, so we appreciate you guys. I know there was a couple side tangents here. We're trying to make these shows fun.
That's what we do, y'all. That's what we're here for.
That's what we're here for, baby. Especially when there's no actual goddamn Diamondbacks news and the only D-backs related news is fucking Jake Lamb retiring. So Mike Hazen or just anybody else, please give us some news that we can actually talk about the D-backs and go on a 30-minute rant or tangent on just that topic alone. But again, appreciate everyone stopping in. Obviously, our resident troll, Cruz, appreciate you either way. Red Sox Nation, our man Josh in the chat as well. Same with you, Scott Mack. Appreciate everyone tuning on in. Like I said, if you're even tuning on in after the fact and watching on the YouTube side, on the recording, or on Apple, Spotify, wherever else you may listen to your podcast, we appreciate every single one of you guys as always. Make sure you guys follow us on all socials. Make sure you join the Discord. It is free. You don't got to pay a single dollar to join in there. A lot of great channels, especially self-promo. Maybe you have like your own graphic designs. Maybe you're a Twitch streamer. Maybe you just have something else you want to show out. Like maybe you're in a band or anything like our boy Dank. Hop in the Discord. It's a great way to get other people to check out what you got going on even in your own personal life. A lot of great channels, other sports, especially with football going on, basketball going on. it's not just D-backs related in there. It's kind of just a way for the community itself, at least share the aspect of being a D-backs fan, or at least baseball, like our man Shug and Cruz. I know they're Dodger fans, but they're still respectable and all that. But make sure you guys join all that. Go over to azsnakepit.com. Check out all the great content over there, like our man Josh, our man Jeff, even some of the other people like Landon. Even had there's a couple of the different people in the Discord that have posted their own, kind of off-season plans for the D-backs, and they got some great ideas. I think I am Larry as well has done some good work. So a lot of great articles over there. That's not even just some fellow Dispatch fans, but it's just some other D-backs fans as well. So make sure you guys go check out all the content over there. It's a great community that they got brewing, and just some great pieces that I think would tickle anybody's fancy. That Pause. What that would be right up the alley of any D-backs fan. But again, we appreciate you guys all tuning on in here. Hopefully, you guys all have a great start to the month of December as we ramp up the holiday season here. We will see you guys hopefully within the next week for some more actual D-backs news. But if not, either way, we'll see you guys on the next episode of D-backs Dispatch. I've been Brett, Brandon to my right, Gabe to the left, Josh behind the ones and twos, making all the graphics and the magic happen. We all four appreciate you tuning on in here, and we'll catch you next time on the next episode of D-backs Dispatch. Take care.
Under the lights, the game goes down. Tears are a heap, but we own this town. Brandon Gabe on the call, with Josh in the back, bringing it all. Fastballs hum, the bats ignite. 9 innings deep, we fight all night. Wins and losses, highs and lows, we break it down, yeah, that's how it goes. D-backs Dispatch, turn it up